we are live. This is Body Electrician Live, and we're welcoming Dr. Wil Spencer to have a nice talk with the girls here. We have Cheryl Whitehouse.
Hello.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hey.
Cheryl is in San Diego, and I am Nancy Piscatello. I'm in Mattituck, New York, Long Island, and we've got Dr. Wil Spencer, who is now unmuting himself. Say hi, Wil. You hear us, Wil?
Hi, Wil.
There we go. Say hi, Wil.
Hi, Wil.
Hi, Wil.
All right, guys, we finally did this. This is our first official conversation, which is awesome because we had kind of a beta test the last time, which was fun, but Wil didn't like us that night, so he left me and Cheryl and Ethan and JoJo to kind of hang by ourselves.
I watched you.
Anyway, you did. So, Wil, Cheryl was the brainchild of the Body Electrician Community Kitchen there. Bravo, Cheryl. And we get a lot of people coming on there, a lot of questions. I think it's a great platform for you to be able to, really connect with people, and we're able to do that too. So we made a lot of friends on there too. I think Cheryl feels the same way.
Yeah, getting to know people.
So,
That was a great idea.
Thank you.
Take your bows there, Cheryl. Good job. Anyway, we both help Wil out a bit. Wil is a naturopathic doctor, and he has some wonderful alternative perspectives to natural health. And the way we help him out is we are his hand scan hubs. Basically, what happens is if you're looking for a way to improve your health, the hand scan is what facilitates that. So you would come to myself, you would come to Cheryl. There are many people all over the country that do the same thing and help Wil out. And basically, that's a wonderful way to start it. So we do get a lot of questions about the hand scanner, Wil, so maybe that's a great place to start. What is it? How does it work? And I know even when I started, it kind of confused me, but I was so impressed with everything that I said, I want to get involved. So here we are, Cheryl, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
I've got mine here.
Yeah, so Wil, I mean, could you explain a little bit about the hand scanner?
I can. I'll talk about the hubs first a little bit because this was a selfish endeavor to begin with, and then we had a gal by the name of Lisa, our very first hand scan hub in Pennsylvania. She called, and she said, after stalking me for a while and finding all the information out that she could about what we do, she says, how can I be involved? And so she actually was the inspiration. Cheryl met her already. She has a health food store, and she actually does scans out of her health food store, just like you girls do out of your house. And now we're scanning on 5 continents. And we have hand scan hubs all over the place, literally in Europe, New Zealand, all over the States and Canada. So, and what this device and technology has allowed us to do is bring healthcare to your home, so or to your local area. So we also have a bunch of these devices we mail around all over the planet, literally. And then, like Cheryl and Nancy, they're the local, I guess you want to call them the local reps.
Yes, we are.
They're working out of their home.
Yeah.
Well, it makes it easier for people to come, but
Show it
there it is. There it is. Cheryl, show that. Make some noise.
Yep, this is it. It's called Zyto, and it knows everything.
It's manufactured by a company of Zyto. You can go check the technology out. It's ZYTO. The technology and the device is used quite a bit in the natural health industry for different ways. Mostly it's like some of these essential oil companies and herb selling manufacturing companies actually for their I call it the bottom of the barrel software, their cheap software. They're like what's the name of the company?
So there is a difference, Will.
There's
It's not
different.
just how you program these Zyto hand scanners. It's not just your programming. There's different levels of them.
Yeah, you buy exactly. You buy different levels of software access. So you can buy the cheap version, which that's what most people use. So like Young Living or doTERRA or Nature Sunshine. So you put your hand on the device and they tell you which products to buy, and that's how it was sold to me at first, or I was introduced. I'm like, I'm not interested in that because I really not interested in selling that way. And then I did some more, research. I called the company and I said, what's the scope of this? It's got to be used to see inside the body, other than just telling me what to take. And so then they explained to me the different levels of software, and we ended up getting their high level, which is the price of a new car, basically. And
Wow.
then we've augmented it beyond that. So we've got an extremely customizer, no one else using their software the way we are. So we're looking at the body. There's over 18,000 different categories or different things that the device is able to see that's stressing your body, from heavy metals to petrochemicals to all 100+ Lyme bacterias to all the biological and chemical warfare agents to your sinus cavities, all your different teeth, your vertebrae, your discs, your joints, your sinus. I said sinus cavities already. Your brain. And we're also able to look into the negative emotions that we are carrying around with us like a backpack full of little devils.
Yes.
That is the most intriguing part to me, because that's really the magic, if you will, of this, is we're able to see the negative emotional programming that we all have. There is nobody that does not have it. We live in a socially engineered country that's socially screwed up. It's engineered to be chaotic, and we're able to see where the chaos is and then actually get rid of the chaos. So our physical body, our emotional body, our mental body can be harmonious again. And so that is one of the things that intrigues me about this technology. The other one is we've entered all of our products that we make and use into our software program database, and that's another thing that sets us pretty different, because people come to us that have been treating Lyme disease, chronic fatigue, thyroid problems, endocrine system problems, and we're getting results, but people come to us with these problems and they're like, we've been treating for 20 years for Lyme's, we still have Lyme. But that's okay. We'll help you, because our view and the way we do things is not standard naturopathy. We're kind of way over here on the fringe of the fringe, I guess. I like to look at it as cutting edge myself, because nobody's doing what we're doing.
No, I would totally agree. It's funny, all of the information you just said about the emotional being so important in healing. I'm finding that more and more true through all of us, all of my family, even my puppy dog, and you know you've been helping him quite a bit.
Yep.
It's just amazing, and I've met some people through the community kitchen as well who are going through quite a few things, and it's amazing how just them talking to you, talking to me, they've realized how much the emotional is stopping them or limiting their ability to heal.
I got a story. And this is just from yesterday. Hold on a second. Hi.
Aw, hello.
This is Lena. She's the one that does all the invoicing now. Are you everything
Hi,
okay?
beautiful Lena. How are you?
They're
I'm
recording
good.
this
How
right
are
now.
you?
You're Lena.
Good. No, I saw you out there. I was like, I'm gonna go meet Nancy quick.
Oh, okay. You can meet Nancy. You can meet Cheryl.
Hi.
And this is being recorded, so I don't know
Cool.
who else is watching, but
Well, now everyone.
everyone, the whole universe.
All right. Well, I'm gonna get out of here.
Okay.
Ian's waiting for
Okay.
me.
We'll see you later.
Have fun.
Bye, Lena.
That's our new shipping department, invoicing and everything. So
That's
that's
awesome.
Dylan's youngest daughter.
Oh.
So, but I got a story that this is like happened yesterday. We have a client in Ohio, and I won't mention any names, but she's got freaked out. She had a few scans, never really followed along much, and she went to the hospital because she was having what she thought was a heart attack. And she spent like, I don't know, 5-6 hours, whatever it was. It was all a long time. And they did all the EKG and all these other tests and all this stuff, and the final outcome was, there's nothing wrong with you. It's in your head. She said, no, the heart hurts. Well, we had a little conversation prior to our psych-k session, and I come to find out that her emotional heart was definitely broken. We had a broken relationship just recently. The daughter moved away to college, so now mom is by herself at home and having, abandonment issues and all of her stuff. And during the psych-k process, 3 or 4 different times during the process, she actually felt, how you can take a string on a guitar and just pluck that sucker, or on your piano, you just pluck it, and it kind of like, she said it felt like that inside of her heart.
Wow.
And then the last one was really deep, she said. It was on the back side of her heart next to her spine, and it was like somebody just went ping. And she said the muscles in her back relaxed, and she could take a deep breath, and she actually got to relax for the first time, and she don't even remember how long. Just by going through and getting the conflict out of the conflict between the subconscious mind and the conscious mind allowed the physical heart and the physical muscles in her back and in her chest to relax, to sit back in her chair, to take a deep breath, and there was no pain. That's how much our physical body is like the expression of the emotional pain and disharmony. And when you bring the emotional harmony back, you get rid of the conflict. The physical body then it was like this quick, literally.
Wow.
The
Those are
pain
the
went
type of
away. Boom, that quick.
Yeah. What does the medical world call that?
They call it a psychosis
Miracle?
because no, they call it a psychosis because there was nothing wrong with her according to their machines and their tests. There was nothing wrong with her blood. There was nothing wrong with the hormones. There was nothing wrong with the EKG, the MRI, and all that. But she was experiencing like a heart attack. So they wanted to put her on psychological drugs and have her psychologically evaluated because it obviously has to be in her head.
Oh, of course. Well, that's the answer to everything today, isn't it?
Not in my world.
Yep. I like your world better, Will. It's cool.
I like my world too. It's much more easier and funner and relaxed most of the time.
Funner. Speaking of fun, we got our first comment over here. Let's see. Who might that be? Thank you, Dr. Wu. That's your first hint, Will. Who would that be?
They call me all kinds of stuff.
I believe Bob is with us. Bob, I can't say that. I just can't say. He wrote something very. I don't know if I could go there.
Oh, come on.
All right. He said, "Thank you, Dr. Wu. My uterus is getting its glow back." Bob, you're.
We have this. We have this product, okay? We have this tincture. I can tell the story because this is real, right?
Okay.
There is the product that we have, and we originally I called it. This was Delan's wording. It was an ancient herbal goddess formula.
Yes,
Okay.
I took that. It's awesome stuff.
So, and we put it into the database, and then lo and behold, it was showing up for all kinds of guys. So we were in a quandary. What are we gonna do? And so we were just sending it out with the name on it in the beginning. And there was a few guys that were. I mean, Bob was a really awesome guy. I mean, he was like playing this all out. Like Bob obviously doesn't have a uterus, but he calls the stuff uterus juice. So anyhow, we've ended up with AHGF tincture. So we, because some guys they wouldn't even take this stuff because of the name.
Oh God.
And it's for a hormonal imbalance. And to be really clear, there are more guys hormonally imbalanced than girls, believe it or not.
I do get that. And you know what? Recently, well, maybe it was more like last year, my brother-in-law was told he needs to go on testosterone. Yet I'm hearing all kinds of stuff in the news lately about the detrimental effects of testosterone. So it's interesting. But so you're saying the herbal formula could help with things like that as well?
Well, yeah, based on symptomology and the old way of looking, the old paradigm, natural, way of looking at things that we're taught from school, is But this is where the scan is an evolution. It's the next step, because we're taught to treat symptoms, or we're taught to treat the body by looking at symptoms, okay, or hormone tests or blood tests. And see, this is where when you're looking at hormones, that it's really, I mean, people need to read Bruce Lipton, the book that Cheryl is holding up there, Your Body Speaks Your Mind, this energy psychology, epigenetics, what's the word, area in academia, which academia doesn't really like to admit that's there, but it's been around since the 70s, that saying that it's your perception of your environment, or the perception of yourself. It's the perception that controls your hormones. Most guys, and I'll speak for myself because this was me, I was a workaholic. I mean, I always had 2 jobs and sometimes more, plus I farmed, and I was always going and going and going and trying to prove something and make something and, distract myself with all this exterior stuff so I didn't have to deal with my own emotional sewage. That guys just carry around emotional stuff all the time. Our perception of ourselves is, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, you don't like me, you hate me, all this stuff, which drives the hormonal imbalance. And allopathic medicine, as well as what I call allopathic naturopathy. It's the same thinking, just in the natural world. Is they'll take a blood test and they'll look for whatever. They got this criteria that says, okay, so your testosterone level has to be here, and if it's underneath this, you have to. We've figured out a way to synthesize testosterone, or we've got an herb that'll help boost testosterone. So you got to take that.
Right.
Well,
that's what he was saying.
Yeah, right. By doing that, though, without changing your perception,
correct. Yep.
You're going to cause even a more imbalance. So the natural health industry just doesn't get that. The allopathic industry just doesn't get that. And there are more people coming around to this line of thought, because you can harm yourself by taking supplements if you don't address the whole being I mean, that's what I got. That's why I've had to evolve into this way of thinking, because I couldn't know that I was harming my clients. I was telling people to do this, you know, based on your schooling. You have this, this, and this wrong, so you got to take this, this, and this. But you never address the emotional sewage you live in.
Right.
Without addressing the emotional baggage that you carry around, without freeing yourself from your backpack of emotional chaos, you're going, the big picture is you're going to be like handling illness constantly until you deal with the emotions, because that's the root of everything. Oh, my light went out.
In the dark.
Yeah, hold on. I got
Hold
one of
on,
these
folks.
motion sensor deals.
Well, you know, this brings up an interesting point. You were on the show the other day, and do you remember I texted you? I should read the text, but because it said it better than I'll say it right now. But it was
Sure.
all, and you said, "Yeah, you got it, you got it." It was about that.
No, don't paraphrase. Don't
Okay.
paraphrase. Go
You mean
read
I
it.
have to look this up?
Yeah, I don't have my phones out in the office, so I
Well, basically, I said to you that I had come to an epiphany that we are not static beings. We are not, you know, in other words, the hand scanner picks up something at every moment. Now, some people may look at that and say, well, then how can you make a judgment, or how can you make a call on that? But the point is, our bodies are always in flux. So that takes a snapshot. And that's what I found so interesting. It's like it suddenly made so much sense to me. And you guys had been talking about it on your show. Do you remember me saying that to you?
yeah, I remember the text. We're in constant flux. The only thing constant is flux.
Yep.
I mean, that's a Yoda moment.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned that there are only two what was it? Two static forms, and one is death, and the other is change. Now, change blew my mind, so maybe you can explain that to me. Nope. Did I?
Every second, can you hear me yet?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Every second, there's over 2,000 electrical information transitions that happen in our body.
Okay.
Okay. That's you got to get that. Okay. So for me to sit right here, right now, and not even talk, for me to just to sit, or for the Cheryl to sit, or for you to just sit there, there's over 2,000 electrical information transmissions between your central nervous system and your muscles every second. And then the more complicated of actions that you know, like talking, thinking, and I'm waving my hands, and we're communicating here. There's even more. That's a huge amount of flux taking place second to second to second.
Right.
Okay, so the idea, and see, this is where I think the biggest disease is the allopathic thinking. Okay, that's the biggest #1 disease, that we are like an internal combustion engine. Like, we're just like this concreted being, this thing. If your stomach doesn't work, cut it out and put another one in.
Right.
If your eye doesn't work, just take it out. You know, if your kidney doesn't work, well, we'll just take it out. You got another one. You know, it's like a diesel engine. You know, we were talking about that on the show. If an injector doesn't work, you just put another injector in. I'll bet you that's Ethan right there. Say hi,
That's
Ethan.
right.
Hi, Ethan.
Say hi, Ethan.
That's Cheryl's son. So,
another client, right?
right.
Yeah.
So what we're saying is that if there's a problem with your kidney, There could be other things going on. You could be living in a perpetual state of fear to cause your kidney a problem. You could be having an adrenaline, living in like an adrenaline junkie, constantly being stressed, and your adrenals are wearing out, tearing your kidneys apart, which then sets you up for a possible urinary tract infection. Like the girl that I was talking with yesterday was living in an emotional state of I'm alone, I feel abandoned, and she has a heart attack feeling going on. When the hospital says there's definitely nothing wrong with her physical heart, but yet she was feeling pain like a heart attack. And there's this constant state of flux that we're in, as in, okay, so you move your arm. All right, there's a certain set of muscles and impulses from your brain, your central nervous system, that's going to run all the muscles to make your arm go up and down. Or my lips move and my vocal cords do what they do. That is moment to moment. So you put your hand on the scanner and you're going to get what's stressing you right now.
Yeah.
Like a snapshot in time. It's like, boom, that's what's happened now in that 30 minutes while that took place. That's what's going on right now. Now, we've done experiments over the years, Delanne and I, where we've took scans 15 minutes apart, 1 day apart, 1 week apart, and there is fluctuations. Okay, but if you don't do anything about it, the protocol is pretty close to the same.
Yeah, Delanne was saying that, yep. And that actually she's seen it increase. In other words, if you don't take the protocol, it actually increases in volume.
Right. I like to say follow the protocol because there's 4 parts to the protocol. There's three emotional parts and 1 physical part. That's how I like to look at it. Mm-hmm. Okay. We use color therapy for the emotions. We use Bach flower remedies for the emotions. We use the belief change statement. The process is called psych-k for the emotions. And then there's the actual physical, tangible, biological products and tinctures and stuff. Okay. So that's how important the emotions are. Most of what we do is getting the emotional state in a much more balanced, harmonious state, and the body just heals so much faster. I mean, you can do it like regular allopathic thinking or the standard naturopathic thinking, where they're forcing the body to do things with pills and potions and stuff, and they really leave out all the emotional side of things. When that worked fairly well. I mean, we had, I would say, like 75% success rate, if you will, of people following along that way. But when we started this scanning process, it just pushed it right up into the high 90s. If you follow along with the protocol wholeheartedly and the dietary suggestions, our outcome is you're going to get improvement.
Right.
It's just you have to be willing to alter some behaviors. It's your current behavior patterns that got you in your current state of health. So thinking you're going to do this for whatever, a day, a week, a month, or whatever, even 5 months, and then you're going to go back to your old way of life, all of your old illnesses are going to come back eventually because it's your way of life that made you ill. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I remember you saying that to my husband. You said, Joe, it took you 40-something years to get to this point. Give me a few weeks, dude. Give me a few weeks.
Yeah, and guys are usually a little more stubborn. They don't want to embrace any change and any new things. It's like, I've been doing it this way for 50 years. And like, well, that's the problem, though. That's the problem. If you drive your car and your front end is out of alignment, you're going to wear your tires out. So you buy new tires. And what's going to happen? Those tires are going to wear out prematurely. If you don't go in and have it aligned and to get an update to your car, you're just going to wear those tires out and you're going to waste your money. You may feel good for a while because you got brand new tires.
Right.
But they're going to wear out really fast.
Now, Will, is that what you're comparing? Like, you know, a lot of people get, I would call it momentary success from, it could be anything, juicing, certain vitamins they're taking. There's all kinds of things that people are, oregano oil, all these new, you know, the latest greatest, you know, food item that's supposed to be making us well.
Right.
Would you put it in that same category as what you just said?
Well, sure. They're fads. They didn't really do anything to get you a different pattern. I mean, sure, you can take the South Beach diet and you can follow it for a while. You might get even benefits for a while. But then there's going to be long-term, because you really didn't do much other than you just changed your tires. All right? You changed your underwear. Eventually they're going to be dirty again.
Will?
Yeah, analogy here, okay? It's late. It's been a long day.
This is the R-rated show, folks. R-rated.
No.
It's after 9 o'clock. It's okay. So back to your dirty underwear. Go ahead. Go ahead. Well, what were you saying?
Yeah, well, these fad things. So talk about the fad things. Okay, so I had a guy yesterday. He was telling me about all the different things he was doing, which was all fad stuff. You know, he was doing flaxseed stuff. He was eating 5 tablespoons of coconut oil a day. He was eating Ezekiel bread. He was juicing.
Yeah.
You know, blah 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 blah. And I said, you know, well, we're going to have to change some habits here because it's those habits that are causing a lot of your problems. He goes, what do you mean? I'm like, what do you mean? What do I mean? It's your habits. It's the things you're doing right now that are causing your body ill health. Because first of all, you're doing it out of desperation. You're not doing it out of being empowered. And second of all is all these new guru stuff, these fads, okay? They're based in fraud. Fraudulent information. That's what I just call it like it is, like that. It's like information that's distorted. Almost all of these fad things are all good marketing, bad information.
Yeah.
And so many people. I mean, I beat up coconut oil so bad because it is so bad for you. Yeah, you can get benefits. You can get benefits about drinking a cup of turpentine every day for a while. It does have antimicrobial properties. There used to be a therapy, a turpentine therapy, that you could take. Okay, but the long-term effects, you're going to have damage take place long-term. You get short-term relief, long-term damage. That's allopathic. The whole pharmaceutical industry is that way.
And would you put the coconut flour in there as well? I know that's one of your favorites as well.
I don't promote the use of any coconut. I met 2 farmers in not Illinois, Iowa, back in the 80s. Okay, the government was subsidizing these. They gave them grants, free money they call it, to go and buy land and start coconut plantations in Central and South America. Okay, so when the government is behind anything, it's not good. There's nothing sustainable about it, and there's nothing healthy about it. First of all, you got to get that. Second of all is you monocrop any crop. The medicinal value goes right in half or more. Okay, so now you're taking a plant, say corn, say beans, say squash, say lavender, say all these essential oils that they're farming nowadays. Okay, I learned this from old Indians. Okay, you farm any herb, the medicinal value goes down. Just because of the farming process. It's just because natural selection is not there anymore. These people that I learned my herbology from, they say you leave 10 to 20% of the plants behind, so and the healthier ones, you leave the healthiest plants that grow naturally so they can go to seed and they can produce next year. And you'll notice this. I've done this for years because I hunt herbs. When you
Sorry. Little noise in the background.
That's all right. We're real people and living in real
Yeah.
houses, you
This
know.
is right in the kitchen here, Will.
Yeah,
This
that's
is a
well.
community kitchen as well. So
Kitchen.
it's only
So,
fitting. Go ahead.
so the medicinal value goes down as soon as you farm anything.
Right.
Okay, coconuts don't grow naturally inland very well at all, especially if you got 1,000 acres of them. My father was a big farmer. He had 1,000 acres of potatoes. It was a military operation to keep the bugs, the potato bugs, out of the field, because it is so unnatural to raise or to monocrop anything. So you have to have almost like a military operation. My dad had an airplane and a helicopter, and he used chemicals. Biological and chemical warfare going on in farms nowadays.
Jeez. And you grew up in that, right, Will?
Sure I did, and it was just the way it was. You didn't know any better, because the universities, through the agricultural extension offices, talked the farmers into doing this stuff as it was a great marketing. It's still going on today.
Jeez.
A tractor nowadays has a GPS in it. It costs $250,000. It has 500 horsepower. It has a television screen and a computer screen in it. They've got tractors nowadays that you push a button at the end of the field, boop, and you just kick back, and you could watch YouTube and surf the internet from your tractor, because the GPS will take it to the end of the field. Before the end of the field, the light comes on. You push the button, turning it back over to the driver. You turn around, you put your implement back in the ground. You push the button, and the GPS takes it to the other end of the field. I've got friends in Montana that farm this way. It's 7 and 8 miles in one direction.
Jeez. What are they doing there all day like that?
They sit there and they watch the television,
Oh.
because the GPS guides the tractor from point A to point B, 8 miles. They got combines that cost $900,000. Do the same thing.
Wow. Us city suburb chicks, we don't even know what you're talking about. I mean, you've been around here though, Will. They still drive little tractors around here, but I guess
They Disney farm. That's what you called it.
Yeah, no, you said that, Disney farmers out here. Yeah. Well, that's the way we tend to think that's what farming is. I mean, but it's like a tourist attraction out here, out on Eastern Long Island. That's what they come out to see, the farms,
Right. Right, which really, I mean, they're farms. Yeah, I guess they raise crops, but I mean, the guy that you get your milk from, I mean, that's kind of a real farm. Like, that's a real farm. I mean, he's diversified, right? He's got whatever crops he raises for his own cattle, and he raises chickens, and he's got different animals on the farm, and he raises different crops on the farm. I mean, most farmers today, like my father, well, he had 800 and some cows at the end, but he had basically 3 crops: soybeans, kidney beans, corn, and potatoes. That was it. It was all chemically farmed. It was all conventional farm. It was basically hydroponic farming, because he had 13 or 14 irrigation pivots. So you can Google what an irrigation pivot is. Okay, it's a way of dispersing the water above ground onto your plants. It's this huge irrigation thing that spins, pivots on the center, and it's got like 14 towers, and it goes around in a circle and distributes water on your field. Okay, and there was basically no nutrition in the soil. It was all sand. So the soil, and this is what I did a lot. This is how I got trained. Was I did a lot of soil sampling. I worked with the agricultural consultant that tested the ground. So I was taught on how to test the soil and take soil samples and put them in the little bags and then give them to the consultant, and then he would have them tested. And then after a while, I started doing this for other people, and I had a little job when I was in my late teens, and I basically was doing consulting work, pulling samples and taking them to the lab and having them tested, and then the lab would give recommendations, okay? And they would test for like 8 things, all right? Boron, calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, potash, and then you would have to put, depending on how deficient the soil is, then you'd have to come up with this recipe for your nitrogen, potash, calcium, boron, zinc, or whatever. And it was either put on broadcast in a fertilizer base, or it was put on through the irrigation, or they sprayed it with sprayers, or however and then that's it.
Right.
Okay. In 2006, Fritz Popp, a physicist from Germany, or Europe somewhere, I'm thinking it's Germany or Austria, said that we need a minimum of 90 different minerals in our diet every day to be adequately healthy. 60. 60. Okay, the agriculture agronomists are pulling samples, and they're looking for 12, maybe 15 different minerals. Okay, so this is organic or conventional. It doesn't matter. They're doing the same practices in the organic world. It's just as lame. Okay, so you cannot eat and be healthy. You cannot eat yourself to health nowadays. You can't. If you need 60 and agriculture is only testing for a dozen, what's the difference? All right, 48 missing minerals. Where are you going to get them? Can't.
No, I know. Well, that's the funny thing when you talk to people and they say, "Oh, I eat very healthy." You see, that's the first thing.
I love that.
Yeah. That's the first thing they say. "Oh, I eat all organic vegetables." But
so you're starving to death.
Yeah.
Eating organic, you're organically starving yourself to death if you're not supplementing. It's that simple. 1936.
All right.
Senate,
Well, another question: if you're saying there's nothing in the soil, then
I didn't say nothing. I said
nothing.
a dozen minerals.
If there aren't enough minerals in the soil, then is making supplements from any vegetable source, is that even helpful? Or do you have to do certain things to the vegetable or the vegetable source to get whatever it is, whatever supplement you're looking for out of it?
Our vegetable source minerals are millions of years old. Ours have over 70 different minerals in them. Between 78 and 82 is what our analysis are coming back for our minerals that we use. Okay, that's about as broad spectrum as you got.
Interesting. Well, I know it's done some great things for me. I can say that for sure. And
brought me back to life.
I'm sorry, Cheryl?
Brought me back to life.
That's it. Very interesting stuff. Will, you turned me on to a book by Dr. Hawkins, Letting Go. Now that's kind of back to what we were talking about before, about the emotional end of things. And it's interesting, but I've met a lot of people who seem to be dealing with a lot of physical ailments. And I notice that the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, "I have this," or "I have that," whether it be, "I have cancer," "I have irritable bowel syndrome." I mean, there's just a million allopathic terms for things. And I notice that that's used in naturopathic terminology as well. I always find it interesting that when I say anything to you about a symptom I'm having, and I say, could it be, like, for instance, my husband had something that I thought, is that gout, what he's going through? And I noticed that you would never attach to the name of it, and I thought that was very interesting. And I'm sure you have a lot to say about that. Because later in the end of that book, I'm pulling it around here, folks, the end of that Letting Go book, he mentions that, how naming diseases creates an entire story. And I thought that was so interesting. And then again, I had the epiphany that what you were saying, it all made sense. So I'll leave
Or
it.
what I'm not saying makes sense.
Exactly.
Because I'm not buying into the story. That's why people get frustrated with me. You know, like, I don't want to hear the allopathic term. I want to know what's going on with you, because you really got to get, I mean, we met a lady who has a friend in New Jersey who is retired from a pharmaceutical company, and her job, her whole professional career was she was working for the pharmaceutical company, and her job was the head of a think tank. Okay, her job was to have a group of people in a room together, and that's their job. They come up with a name of a disease, they come up with a treatment of a disease, they come up with a list of symptoms, and they package this thing with a name. This lady's fame, one of her biggest achievements in her life was she created PMS. She created everything wrapped around it, the marketing for it, the drugs for it, the diagnosing for it, everything. That was her fame. She was so proud of that.
Huh.
Everything is like that in the allopathic world as well as the naturopathic world. That's why I don't even want to know pharmaceutical names. I don't want to know diagnosing names. I want to know what's going on with your body. Because that's what I was taught. Okay? I don't like using the allopathic names of illnesses, because it's similar. Okay, so diverticulitis. Okay, diverticulitis generally is like a pocket of infection in the intestinal tract that has popped through, a part of your gut lining has popped through the muscle wall, the peristaltic muscle, and now is impacted and now got an infection in it.
Okay.
That's what's going on. In allopathic world, you use the word diverticulitis, could mean a couple of different things, and you really don't know what it is. They really don't know what it is unless they go in and scope it to be really truthful. Otherwise, they're depending on certain tests, certain blood tests, certain symptomology to come up with a diagnosis. Okay, I'm not interested in that. And the other thing is, for instance, like the girl that had the heart problems, okay, allopathic world, she's saying, I have a heart attack. She goes there to this hospital, and they run the EKG, they run the blood test, they did a hormone test, they did, CAT scan or whatever, MRI, whatever. They tested her to death for 4 hours or whatever. And they said there was nothing wrong. Well, it was very clear there was something wrong. She was having pain. Okay, that's why I started at my questioning a little differently. My first time question is, when did you have your last emotional heart problem? You have a heartache. They don't call it a heartache for nothing.
Right.
And then she kind of got a little sniffly nose. I'm like, oh, so you have had some emotional trauma lately. And then she started crying. I'm like, okay, so let's just cry it out. And then let's, if you feel like sharing, then just tell me what happened. Well, my daughter went to college, and I feel alone. I broke up with my boyfriend for how many ever years, and I feel abandoned. And in my world, that's totally feasible for having a heart pain, is having your heart broken. And she was definitely not capable of handling the emotional trauma that she's been through by her daughter going to school and her boyfriend leaving, and then she had to move out of her house, and now she's living with somebody else in the living room, because that's just what happened.
Wow.
Okay, so she went over there to the hospital. They couldn't find anything wrong with her physical heart, the blood pump. So then they want to have her for psychological evaluation because it's definitely got to be something wrong with her head to think that she was having these problems. So she must be manufacturing this in her head. So now we got to have a psychologist involved and get a psychological examination. And now we got to get her on some antidepressant medicine because she's got to be depressed, all from a heart pain. And we took care of it in 15 minutes in a conversation.
Exactly.
She was in the hospital in the emergency room for over 4 hours, and they determined there was nothing physically wrong with her. We had a conversation in less than 15 minutes, and the pain was gone. I think I'm definitely underpaid. That's my 2 cents worth.
I hear you. I do hear you, Will. All right, I'm going to shift gears.
Because the insurance company got paid about $9,000 for all that testing in 4 hours.
Oh, sure.
Right? And
Yeah.
I got $50.
Oh, God. Yeah, well, you know, it's interesting because even as a hand scan hub, which Cheryl and I have talked about, sometimes you feel, you know, gee, should we charge for this and all of that, you know, because there's that whole feeling of trying to help people and all of that. And then you look up what they charge for all of these medical tests, blood tests, this, that. It could, what did you tell me, Will? You said one of your doctors said...
I'll tell the whole story. So
yeah.
we had a medical doctor look at, licensed AMA medical doctor, neurologist or some fancy doctor, high paid, look at our scanning process and look at the results and look at all the different tests that we do in 30 minutes for $150. And he come back and this is what he said. He said it would take 6 months and over $25,000, and it still doesn't even come close to what we do for $150 in 30 minutes.
Jeez.
So look at the paradigms here.
Yes.
Look at this. Okay, $150 in 30 minutes of your time to get more than 6 months and $25,000. You're going to get more. What's the better buy? If you're a shopper,
yes.
Why would you even consider that over there?
Right.
Because all you have to do is take a pill.
Yeah, right. You get to lay back on a machine that puts you through a little tunnel and vibrates you, and then you get blood drawn out of your fingers, and then they get probed up your butt, and then you get probed up here, and you get prodded over here. I mean,
oh, and don't forget the radiation.
Oh yeah, don't forget the radiation. So I mean, like, I know we're boring.
Yeah.
And we're cheap.
And it's painless. Yeah, we get that a lot too. This isn't going to hurt, is it? I had one lady that was actually feeling something, which it just vibrates a little bit, and she was flipping out. She thought it was like maybe harming her or something. So it's amazing. I had
a couple too that felt stuff. That felt quite a bit. One did, actually, my friend did. She felt a whole lot. Stuff going up her arm.
It's a vibration, like it is reading frequency.
Right.
But nothing hurts about it. My goodness. Maybe it tingles a little bit once in a while. It's not even all the time.
Most people feel their own hormonal response from their own worry, anxiety, and fear. It's not coming from our machine.
Ah, interesting.
Because Delanne just come across a quote recently about worry. Worry is the mind creating what you don't want.
Good one. I would say so.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. If it's not, she can come in here. I know she's out listening. So if that's not what it is, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So worry is the mind creating what you don't want.
Yeah.
So by that definition, is worrying going to be profitable for you?
Yeah.
No, not really.
Great point.
It's just going to cause you more hormonal chaos and ill health.
All right, shifting gears here, Will. A lot of questions came up. One of them was pH level. Now, a lot of people seem to feel that the pH levels are very important. A lot of people have said things about cancers not being able to grow in certain pH levels. Love to hear your thoughts on that.
What's that?
The imagination.
Hold on a minute.
Wait, we're backing up.
Worry is the imagination creating what it doesn't want.
Okay, worry is the imagination creating what you don't want. I just got updated.
We duly noted. Thank you, Delanne.
She's camera shy tonight.
Aww.
Yeah,
Never come over.
She would not come over here.
You won't come over?
Yeah, I don't buy into the pH fraud. I don't buy into the blood type fraud. I don't buy into a lot of stuff because it's just that. It's fraud. It's not based in reality. It's based in clinical allopathic academia. It's not based in reality. Because I can walk up to you, Nancy, and I can take my hand and I can slap you right on the face.
Oh.
And I will drive your pH from a 7 to a 5 in less than 3 seconds. Okay? Now.
Why are we laughing at this, Cheryl?
Because I did this example for Cheryl at her house. I never hit her, but I said I was. What if I hit you?
And then you put like one of those tester things under her tongue and say, "Well, look at that."
Yeah, next
Right
time he's got to
yeah.
put the test strips.
Exactly.
So
Test
if you live in a perpetual state of emotional imbalance, you're going to be in an acidic state. Period. You see, your emotions, your emotional state, and your perception of you, your environment, and the perception that you live with drives your pH because that's just the way it works. And for you to synthetically force your pH up or down, you're going to cause physical long-term problems because it's the emotional state and your perception that controls your pH. So I walk up to you right now and I slap you across the face. You take your hand like back like this and your acid, boom, that quick. Because you just shot all that adrenaline and cortisol and all those stressor hormones into your body because now you want to fight me because I just smacked you on the face.
Right.
You're sitting in traffic and the guy in front of you slams on his brakes. You're in a hurry. What do? Road rage. Well, right there, you're acid. Okay? Your girlfriend or your boyfriend says, "Phooey on you, I'm leaving. I'm tired of you." Acid. The guy in front of you, or excuse me, the guy in back of you in the grocery store accidentally bumps the back of your ankle with a shopping cart, trying to pump you along, getting you in a hurry in the checkout line. Boom! You turn around and give him a glare, and then smile. Acid.
Acid. Yeah.
Okay, so then you're going to go home and you're going to put all this crap in a blender, hit the button, and then you're going to drink it. Okay, so you're going to alkalize your digestive tract, which is supposed to be acid, which then is going to drive your tissues of your body to go acid. It's called acidosis because that's the way it works. Your body has an acid side and an alkalinity side, just like a battery. You have a positive post and you have a negative post on your battery, and you have acid in the battery. Okay? We are the same way. Our digestive tract is supposed to be acidic to keep the pathogens handled, and your tissues, the rest of you, is supposed to be alkaline. That's what gives you the electrical charge. And if you're following today's gurus, your juicers, your vegans, your vegetarians, and Dr. Mercola, and the Health Ranger and Green Mud Info, you're going to be causing yourself to be in acidosis state eventually. You're going to harm yourself because none of those people address the emotional side of things.
Or the subconscious mind.
Exactly. Our body is our subconscious mind.
Yes, and who was that? Candace Pert?
Candace Perth,
Thank you,
1999.
Bob. Thank you, Bob. He just brought that up.
Yeah. It says our body is our subconscious mind. Our programs that we are born with, and by the time we're between 6 and 7 years of age, we are just about fully programmed to live the rest of our life with a set of programs that aren't ours. Okay? That means now today, you're wondering why when your daughter goes to school and your boyfriend kicks you out, that you feel alone instead of free. I would feel free. Okay? But most people think, oh my God, I'm alone, I'm a loser, I can't believe this, oh my God. Okay, first of all, you're in an acidosis state. Second of all is, you have this preconceived idea that was put there before you're 6 years of age. It could have been before you were born. It's your mom's or your grandmom's pattern or your dad's pattern or something like this that you're programmed with, that you're a loser, you're no good, you can't do it, so you spend the rest of your life looking for verification that you're a loser, you're no good, you can't do it, you're not good enough. And your life turns out just the opposite of what you would like it to. And you don't have a choice. You're totally victimized by the outcome, and you wake up one day going, oh my God, I feel so bad and alone. How did I ever happen to do this? Because I'm spending all this money doing all this self-help stuff. I go to all these gurus. I juice myself to death. You know, I'm coffee enema myself. I'm taking all the cottonseed oil, you know, the flaxseed oil, and I'm drinking buckets of this, and I'm doing all of that, and I'm in this crappy place. But yet I'm smiling.
Yeah. Interesting.
That's not health. That's sewage. That's living a lie. Because just because you're smiling out in public, hi, I'm Mr. Smiley. But yet you're carrying around all this crap.
And what was that book you were telling me about, Cheryl? The one
I still got it here. I just happened to have it next to me. One thing about working
here's another
Will
one.
is he really encourages everyone to educate themselves and read books. I like I know we all refer to this one, Your Body Speaks Your Mind by Deb Shapiro.
Yep, I've wore a few of those books out. It's a great reference tool because it'll tell you in there why the connection between the emotional problem with your heart and why you're having a physical heart attack.
Absolutely.
Because the pain is, in my world, the pain is just an alarm, like your smoke alarm is telling you you have smoke in the room. Your heart pain is really telling you, it could be telling you quite a bit of different things. You could have a bacterial or a fungal infection. You could have, you know, some physical trauma to your back, then that the nerves control your heart. You could have a rib out of place or a vertebrae out of place pinching a nerve. It could be telling you that your emotional state is not really working very well. You're not really happy. How come I can talk to someone and make them cry in 4 minutes? Because I'm looking for the triggers.
Yeah.
If you can cry in 4 minutes, which is awesome, by the way, and believe me, I make everybody cry sooner or later.
Been there, done that.
Because the crying is the alarm. The crying is you're letting your guard down and letting it come out. Okay, if you don't cry, you don't heal.
Wow.
That's my
right.
philosophy.
Say that again. Say that again, Will. That was a good one.
If you don't cry, you don't heal.
Ooh.
That was actually one of my problems going in. Was I had a something like in my throat, and every time I even felt like crying, even after my mother died, I felt like I was going to suffocate or something. Changed, and I did a lot of crying last year because I couldn't cry for like about 3 years.
I cried buckets. I've cried buckets in my life.
Yeah.
Mostly in the beginning, it was out of sheer frustration because nobody would listen to me. I was just an idiot. And then I'm like, okay, so I got to figure out why my frustration. So that's really what led me down this path, was actually, first of all, allowing myself to cry because I didn't know. I didn't have access to crying. And then when I discovered that, like, that's when everything started really manifesting for me, as I stopped suppressing the emotions. I let them out.
Right. Major shift, eh?
Yep. I went right into overdrive, let the clutch out easy and just went, whoa, there we go.
That's it. That's it.
How long are we going to go on?
Well, that may be a real good time to say I think we covered a lot tonight. That was we got pretty deep here, guys, huh?
So you got to tell me, are you going to be archiving these so people can come and we can share these videos and stuff?
I believe so. They will be. This will go on to YouTube. I believe it's right after it's done, because I found the silly little one that we did the last time that you weren't there for, Will.
I was there. I was watching. What are you talking about?
You were texting me. I'm saying, get on this page with me. But we figured it out this time, and I'm so glad we all got together. I feel like this is.
So just a little update. The whole websites, all 5 websites are going to be. They're in the process of updating. So if something is going on, you don't get a link, it says 404 broken or something like that, just check back. We're going through a massive update. What?
So this is your website right now, is that what you're saying? And maybe
all of our website. Yes. Say that again, Nancy.
Now is a good time to say that if anybody is interested in talking to Dr. Will, simply go to bodyelectrician.com. You can also go on to our Facebook page. Thank you, Cheryl. Body Electrician Community Kitchen, and we've got lots of great conversation going on over there. And
lots of great recipes, like that banana egg pancake crack.
Yes. Oh, in fact, somebody asked about that, and if you go up to the top of the page, on the right there, it says file. You'll see it. It's right on the what would you call that? Like the title area up there. It says file. Click on the file and all the recipes that everybody put in there. And thank you so much, everybody, for putting those on there. They're terrific. Yeah, because a lot of people have questions about, well, what can I eat now if I can't eat grains, nuts, seeds, or tubers? And most people don't even know what a tuber is, so that's a whole conversation. But it's a great place to get all that information. So we try to bring that up every time we go on there, or every few conversations, anyway.
Right.
And
there's also a bunch of interviews and shows that I've done in one of the files in there. The new website's going to have over 200 shows and interviews that I've done since 2006.
Excellent. And also, Bob, thank you. You put on one about the doggies, how to raw feed your dog, which I do, by the way. I've been doing that since I got Buddy, and can't recommend that enough. But there is a whole protocol how to do it and everything on there, and we can thank Bob for that. And I think that's about it, guys. Cheryl, you want to say anything more? You want to add anything? She's very quiet back there.
Was Will saying he has some sort of a new product out or something? Like a mineral something?
Oh, there's a new product that we're working on. It'll be out soon. Where it was supposed to have been by January, but we ran into a little little bit of hiccups, but it's in the process. We'll keep you posted.
And that's minerals, Will? Is that what that is?
Yeah, we've actually got a way of infusing frequencies into the mineral solution, and so we got it's minerals, a high mineral fulvic and humic acids, as well as infusing frequencies like it's homeopathy.
Wow.
Infusing frequencies into the minerals.
Just make sure you have it tuned to 432. You know how I feel about 432 hertz. I don't think I'm the only person out there that feels that way. It's
the music feels better. The tones feel better when you get out of the chaotic.
Totally.
The chaotic frequency.
Totally different. I feel it in my bones, my heart, everything. I know some people think you're nuts when you say that, but it's so, I don't know, it's very true for me. So
it's true for everybody. It's true for everybody when they get to that level of an understanding, and they can actually feel the music.
Yes. Well, Della felt it. Remember, she was here and I played it for her, and she said, "Wow, I feel that." And she said exactly what I felt, and I didn't tell her that. So there's got to be something going on with it.
Right.
You know, very interesting. Well, on that musical note, folks, we thank you again, Dr. Wil, for joining us this time. We're hoping we can rope you into our girl talk once in a while.
Oh, I like girl talk.
Good. Next time we'll mud wrestle. What do you think?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Be careful.
We're getting spicy on this show the next time. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for watching. And
see you next time.
keep smiling.